You're listening to the Mile You're In podcast. Everything running related, from 100 meters to 100 miles. And now, here's your host, Phil Patterson Jr.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Mile You're In podcast, the first episode of 2024. So welcome to my New Year resolution of being more consistent with the podcast. I know y'all are sick of hearing this. You've heard it before, but I want y'all to hold me accountable. We're doing this together, right? So if I start slacking, if I start whatever, hold me accountable, hit me up, keep me honest, keep me true to my word. My goal is to make an episode every other weekend. All right. So starting this weekend, I want y'all, even if you got to hit me up a day or two before and say, hey, I'm waiting for this weekend's episode. It better come. So hold me accountable. That's the goal, right? And that's the thing. This is the time of year people make New Year's resolutions, and a lot of them are known for being, I don't want to say pointless or failures, but they don't stick for as long as we thought. A lot of people are just inspired and motivated, but not full of dedication, and the passion is gone quickly and things just go back to the way they were. Before I get too deep into this, I do want to, as always, thank my Patreon supporters, Becky, Francine, Mr. Anonymous. The three of you continue to financially show love and support the show through Patreon donations, and I thank you for that, truly. For those of you that support the show by listening and even taking it a step further and telling people about it, whether word of mouth, in person, or through social media, I thank you, because there are a lot of podcasts out there and there's only so many hours in the day, and anybody who's taking time out of their day to listen to my show, it means a lot. I really appreciate that. So thank you sincerely. Although I have not been the type that really makes New Year's resolutions, or call them that, at least, I feel like I thought about it this last week, and I realized I kind of was doing that. I have a spreadsheet where every year I would put down how many miles I wanted to run for the year, and I would notice that not only would I cross that, I would cross it fairly early into the year. A lot of times people will set a goal and they'll hit it like in that last 1 to 2 weeks of the month or of the year. But in my case, I was hitting the goal going into August, September, maybe into October, and it made me think maybe I was selling myself short. I was doubting what I was capable of. And I had always had this idea of running 2,000 miles in a year. So for 2022, I decided to actually, put ink to paper, right? Put it down and hold myself accountable. And I did it. And not only did I do it, but I went past 2,000 miles, and it was reassuring to know, okay, you are, again, capable of more than you think you are, but you have to be consistent. You have to be dedicated. You have to be persistent. You can't, take those unnecessary days off and make excuses. So going into 2023, I said I was going to take it easy because I had went so hard in 2022, but momentum just kind of carried into the year, and by March, April, I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, I'm gonna smash 2022 at this pace. And it really looked that way until about June, July, when life happened and things just started going bad. And that second half of last year was tough, especially December. It was pretty depressing at times. I've explained what happened, and even to this day, I'm not 100%. I am feeling better. I'm doing better, but there are times I'll go for a run and an hour or two later, I'm not feeling as strong and good as I used to. I've been making some diet changes and some routine changes to make things better, and it seems like those are taking effect. But I've really just been running 3 miles, and I know to a lot of people that's a lot, and it is a lot. And that's not knocking anybody who's running that or less, but those that know me know I love more the longer distance running. And just a couple days ago was the first time I went over 3 miles. I did 6, and I felt a little funny afterwards. And it was kind of like, again, humbling. Just a reminder, like, hey, you're not 100% yet. You need to keep taking it easy and be smart about this. And eventually, hopefully, we'll get to where we want to be again. But if not, I'm grateful, because if anything, the second half of last year taught me to be more grateful and appreciative of the ability to run, and reminded me how much I love it, and when I'm not able to do it, how much I miss it. So this has been tough to hold myself back and not do what I like to do the way I like to do it. But I'm still grateful to be able to do it. So that's the main thing I'm taking out of it. And, I thought about, like, even this morning when I went to the gym, I expected it to be a lot more crowded than it was, but it was fairly, it was crowded. There were a lot of new faces that I've never seen before, but I know some people don't like that. They hate all the new people at the gym, and they feel like, they can't do their routine, and there's all the machines are taken, blah, blah, blah. Look, if somebody is trying to better themselves, I don't think we should be negative to them or towards it. We should be encouraging it. So I was happy and proud to see all the new faces out there, and, no judgment. It was, hey, these people are trying to better themselves, and day by day they'll get better. Their form will get better. Their technique will get better. Their endurance and their strength. All of this will get better as long as they stay persistent. And that was the main thing about this topic that I wanted to touch on, is that there's a lot of different scenarios, way things can play out when it comes to setting goals and setting resolutions, right? Sometimes things start out good and have a negative trend. Sometimes they start out bad and have a positive trend. Sometimes they take that roller coaster in life, and things look good at times and things look bad at others. I did a lot of research on it because I wanted to come up with some examples that everyone could relate to, and I wrote down a couple that I really liked. One of them being and these the first ones I'm going to give you are examples where things started out tough but ended up well. We think about starting a new job. It's going to be challenging. There's a lot of unfamiliar obstacles, and it can be overwhelming at times. But the dedication and hard work you put in over time can lead to promotions and career achievements. And that proves that the journey matters more than those initial struggles. If you think about educational journeys, students struggling with early concepts of a subject may find that with persistent and consistent effort, they not only grasp the material but excel in the course. With relationships, couples who faced initial hardships or misunderstandings but worked through them with communication and commitment often built stronger, lasting relationships. And it demonstrates the way you navigate challenges is more impactful than the smoothness in the beginning. When it comes to athletes in sports, a team can start the season with losses, a lot of losses, bad losses, but can rally and improve their skills and their team camaraderie and finish strong, and in some cases win the championship. And it just illustrates that overall performance matters more than the early setbacks. When it comes to personal development, if you're embarking on a fitness journey, it might be tough initially, but the transformation that occurs over time, both physically and mentally, emphasizes that the commitment to the process is more significant than the challenges faced at the beginning. Entrepreneurs, I'm seeing a lot of people starting new businesses on TikTok and social media everywhere. Starting a business may involve setbacks and uncertainties, but those who adapt, learn from failures, and persevere often will build successful enterprises. And it highlights that the resilience shown during the journey is more crucial than those initial hurdles. Writers, A writer struggling with the first draft of a novel may discover that through the revisions and dedication of refining their work leads to a masterpiece. And it emphasizes that the creative process and the journey of improvement matters more than that initial draft. When it comes to weight loss, that's one of the biggest New Year resolutions out there every year. Someone on a weight loss journey might encounter challenges in the beginning, but by maintaining a consistent and healthy lifestyle, they can achieve their fitness goals, underlining that the long-term commitment outweighs the difficulties faced at the start. And those are just examples that collectively reinforce the idea that success and fulfillment are often found in the journey, and how one perseveres through challenges rather than in the ease of the starting point kind of dictates how things are going to go. When I was thinking of the opposite of the scenarios and how things can start out good but end bad, it reminded me of two scenarios that I've talked about before, so I won't go too deep into them. But 5Ks, when I was trying to break 20 minutes in the 5K, I would start out really fast to the point where almost every time I would do a race, the first mile was almost a PR. And that's not really the idea of it. You're supposed to start out slower and get faster as the race goes on. And that's what would happen, is that I would start out so fast that at first, I'd see the timing mat at mile 1 and go, wow, that was a great mile. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling great. And then the wheels start falling off and you're thinking, okay, it's just because I'm running hard, but no, I'm fine. And then you see the time at mile 2 and go, nope, I don't just feel bad, I'm doing bad. And I need to reevaluate my strategy when it comes to attempting this goal. And I thought about that with my first 100 miler, because I'll admit, part of it was I got caught up in the fact that I was in the lead and I was feeling good and I was feeling strong, and I was out running too hard, and a lot of my friends, those that had even run 100 miles before and were experienced, were telling me, dude, you got to slow down. And I'm good. I'll be fine. I'm all right. Reality kicked in quick, and I was humbled quick. And it was a reminder that when it comes to running, and especially races, it's better to start out slow and let the, what do they say? Let the course take its action, something. I don't know what it is. I should have researched that first. but really, some of the examples I came across were like celebrities, especially like the kid celebrities, that they rise to fame rapidly, but they struggle to sustain it. And sometimes it's due to personal issues, there's scandals, there's poor career choices, or just a lack of acting skills. And it showcases that a stellar start does not guarantee a successful and enduring career. A lot of sports teams enter a season as favorites, but then face unexpected losses, internal conflicts, injuries, and it leads to disappointing performance and failures, and they're unable to live up to the initial high expectations. Sometimes within games itself, not just the whole season, but you'll see a team start out hot and they take this insurmountable lead, and you think before even halftime, like, this game's over. At this rate, the way things are going, there's no way they're going to lose. But then momentum swings, and sometimes they do hold on and they come out victorious, but a lot of times they don't, because once that momentum swings, they start falling apart. They're not able to handle that adversity, and they fall apart and they lose. There's one that I didn't even think about, was like fashion trends. There are a lot of, as people say, must-haves. I gotta have that. You gotta have that. And a lot of times they quickly lose popularity due to other trends that take off, but changing tastes or overexposure, poor design decisions. And it just illustrates that a strong start does not guarantee sustain. Well, I can't speak all of a sudden. A strong start does not guarantee sustained success in the ever-evolving fashion industry. I had to slow down there. I was starting to talk too fast. One that I got caught up in was cryptocurrency, especially during COVID. It's experienced explosive growth in early stages, but has recently faced a lot of challenges and security issues and market corrections, and it's resulted in significant losses for investors and a tarnished reputation for cryptocurrency as a whole. And these are just examples that emphasize a promising start, even though it's significant, does not guarantee long-term success. There are various factors, including adaptability, sustained effort, and effective management, and these play crucial roles in determining the ultimate outcome of a situation. And then there's like what happened to me this year, where things happen. Life happens. There are things that happen out of your control. No matter what you do, no matter how well you plan, no matter how prepared you think you are, things just happen. Sometimes they happen quicker than you thought, or they happen, but it happened a different way than you planned, or you prepared for one scenario but not the other. It happens, right? And that's what, when I look back at 2023, the goal that I set. Initially, I set the mile at 1,800 for the year. Again, I said 2022 carried into, started looking at the numbers, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to smash 1,800, no problem. At this rate, I'm going to smash 2,000 and what I did in 2022. So like this is cake. Like, this is easy. And as things started happening, I started adjusting my plan and reminding myself, hey, the original goal was 1,800. I got caught up in that hype of doing above and beyond. But really, when you look back at it, you set the goal of 1,800 and you got caught up in other distractions that started pushing you to above that. So although I felt like I don't want to say a disappointment, and I felt like a failure at times, I still hit the real goal that I set of 1,800. So with all said and done, the year was not a failure. It was a successful year. I reached my goal, not the way I wanted to. It wasn't as consistent as I would have liked it to have been as far as reaching it, but I reached it. I started out really hot. Things happened and I almost looked like I wouldn't even reach it, but I rebounded, hung in there, stayed persistent, stayed confident, and just kept pushing. And I reached the goal. And again, it's a reminder that whatever journey you're on, I've said it before, whatever journey you're on, I'm going to say there's a 99.9% chance someone else has been on that same journey. Someone else has had that same goal or a very extremely similar goal and has gone through what you're going through or what you will go through. There are people, especially when you think of entrepreneurs, one of the best ways to be successful is to talk to other business owners and find out what they did. When there are a lot of people that come to me for advice. When I ran my 5K, what did I do? When I ran 100 miles, what did I do? Like, they ask for advice because the smartest thing you can do is find people that have accomplished the goals you're looking for and pick their brains. Find out how they did it. What struggles did they go through? What can they tell you, good and bad, to prepare you? Even and you have to be humble about it, because a lot of times people would tell me things and I won't go through that. That won't happen to me. No, I wouldn't have done that. So, and then it ends up happening because, again, you could be as prepared as you want, but those curveballs are gonna come, and you have to be prepared when they do. And if you're not, it's gonna, that one step forward, two step back mentality is going to happen where you don't feel like you're making progress, and it's going to make you adjust or readjust, and maybe even multiple times. But that's the beauty in it, is that, again, I said it before, that a lot of goals that you set are not just one-time attempts. You get multiple attempts. You get multiple chances. You may fail the first time, but you typically get another shot. There aren't many that I can at least think of that you only get one chance to accomplish that goal. So it's do the research and find out how you can be best at what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. It's when you get those moments where you struggle and you hit those hurdles, or you're not seeing the progress. Sometimes it's, a lot of people will say don't look back, but if you look back and see how far you've come, you'll realize how much closer you are to where you're trying to go. And that's crucial, because sometimes we get so caught up in how far away we are from where we're going, we don't realize how far we've come away from where we were. And I seen a post yesterday where somebody, I wish I would have wrote it down so I could give them credit. It was on TikTok, and the guy was talking about why he runs. It's not that he needs to, it's because he wants to. And he looks at who he was before, and although he's not who he wants to yet, he realizes how much better he's become because of running. The things that's changed for him physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and maybe even financially. He realizes when he actually stops and looks at the overall progress, he realizes how much he's accomplished and not how much he still has to accomplish. And I think that's the thing, is keeping yourself in the moment, because sometimes we get so far ahead of ourselves, or we get so stuck in the past that we don't live in the moment. So whatever your New Year resolution is, if you have one, stick with it. That's my thing. Perseverance. I've talked about dedication versus motivation before, and that's the key, right? Everyone that I've met that says their New Year's resolution failed, it's because they weren't dedicated. Once that inspiration or that motivation wore off, they fell back into the previous routine, and they struggled. I won't say anything yet until things become official, but I've even made a decision, something I've talked about doing for a long time. I put my money where my mouth is this time, literally. And I have an announcement, hopefully, that I can make in about a month or so. But I'm trying to make changes, because I see the lack of progress in areas that I thought I would be further ahead at this point in my life. And I realize there are decisions that I could have made that I didn't. And I picked some brains and I did some research, and I realized what I can do. And part of it was just that lack of motivation, dedication. Because I had the motivation, I had the inspiration, but I just wasn't dedicated. Every time I was excited and I was ready to get into it, or sometimes even started to get into it, I just kind of got lazy, lackadaisical, and things went back to the way they were. So not only am I asking for you guys to hold me accountable when it comes to this podcast and being consistent, but in general, if you know me personally, hit me up. I'll share what I didn't share yet on the podcast, and we could talk about it. And I want y'all to hold me accountable, because if you're really my friend, if you're really family, you want to see me succeed, just like I want to see everyone else succeed. So until the next episode, just make the best of your situation. Make the best of this year. There's a lot of uncertainties out there, but there are a lot of things you can't control. So whatever you can control, whatever you can change, work at that, and do what you can to take control of that and make it happen. And for the things that are out of your control, don't stress them. Don't let them burden you, there typically is a way around that. So it's just showing you what you want may not be able to be done this way, but it can still be done another way.
Thanks for listening to the Mile You're In podcast. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.